Welcome to the Help Her Be Brave new podcast show, where we help give great ideas on how you can get involved in the pro-life movement and how you can help save lives. I'm Amy Ford.
And I'm Jessica Russo.
Yeah, we're super excited today because there's this organization called Support After Abortion, and it's Lisa Rowe is the CEO, and she's amazing. And how I even got connected with them, the previous founder, her name's Callie Cohen, she had come up to me at I think it was at the Pro-Life Women's Conference, and she had a file folder, and she had a post that I had made, and she had printed it all out, and she said, I have an idea, and it came from your post. Like the idea inspired the post inspired this idea. And so she said that I had told a story in the post about how I had just spoke at Pink Impact, which is a huge women's conference here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And it was at the Tarrant County Convention Center, and there were 10,000 women at this convention. And so I was being interviewed by the pastor's wife, and she was asking about Embrace Grace and all the things. And, I always say women that choose life are brave, and I did my thing. And then she was like, okay, Amy, thank you so much for being here today. And I just felt like the Lord prompted me to say one more thing. And I said, listen, before I go, there's 10,000 women in this arena, which means, 1 in 4 have had an abortion. So at least 2,500 of you in this room have experienced an abortion. And so God wants you to know that he loves you, that you're not disqualified from ministry, that you're qualified, and that he wants to heal your heart this weekend. And I just said it was super quick. It was something like that. Got off the stage, done, went back to our booth afterwards. And our booth, Jessica, you were there.
Whoa.
It was inundated with women.
Well, even
crying.
As you were saying it on stage, like I could hear something in your voice that like the Holy Spirit was speaking through you, like something is big happening. And there was a shift in the whole auditorium. Like you could feel something change. And we all looked at each other, the rest of the team. We were like, we need to get to the booth now. Yeah. We had 2 booths at it because it's such a big place. And I told this story in my book, Help Her Be Brave, Discover Your Place in the Pro-Life Movement. But basically there was one that really stood out to me. And I even have pictures of you like holding people, and they're just like crying, and not necessarily like crying, like grief. Maybe grief, but more of like a validation, or like, you see me. Don't you think that beautiful brokenness?
Yeah. It's
not like I'm going to be destroyed, but I'm hurting and there's hope. And
I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
I'm not alone. And so, but I remember one woman came up to me, and there were 3 girls, but the one woman in particular, she was in the middle, and they were like almost holding her up.
Yeah.
They had matching t-shirts because it was like a fun sisters weekend going to this big women's Pink Impact conference, but they were holding the one in the middle up. She was bawling, and she couldn't talk. And one of the sisters said she really wanted to come talk to you. And she just was very moved by what you said. And, I just knew obviously what she's talking about, if she's probably experiencing abortion. But I cannot get this picture of her face out of my mind, because she finally, once she got her thoughts collected and she could actually talk, she just looked at me with tears running down her face. And she said, you mean to tell me that God can use me? It was like it had never dawned on her that she could actually be used by God when she has experienced an abortion in her past. And it was freeing for her. Like,
oh my goodness.
She could barely even walk. She was so overwhelmed with emotion of just the realization that she could maybe be used by God, and that she's not disqualified, and that God is who qualifies her, and he wants to heal her. And so I had kind of put that in a post, and I put a picture of the big arena. And so Callie Cohen was before it was Support After Abortion, she ran a pregnancy center at the time. She's like, this is exactly what we need. We need something where people like this, who have never told a soul, except maybe their sister or something, that needs to be able to connect and know where they can get healing.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, this post, that's how it's even cooler that like it was a Holy Spirit thing. It inspired an organization. Like, how cool is that?
Well, that woman even being brave, maybe not even knowing that she was being brave by coming
Showing
to our
up to the booth. Yeah.
Even like drenched in tears, mascara down her face, barely able to breathe or form words, but her bravery in speaking her pain, bringing it to the light, inspired a whole organization of healing.
So
that's whoa.
Amazing. And she doesn't even know.
She doesn't
even know. Because that girl. Okay. So now Callie Cohen isn't there anymore, but she passed the torch on to Lisa. And so we're super excited to have Lisa on. Are you there, Lisa?
Hey guys, how are you?
We are doing good. Thank you so much for taking the time with us today.
You are absolutely welcome. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to jump right in with you. Is that cool?
Good. That's awesome. Yes.
All right. So tell the listeners a little bit about like your story and why you're passionate about the pro-life movement.
So as you said, my name is Lisa. I have the honor and privilege of serving as the CEO for an organization called Support After Abortion. It kind of tells on itself with its name, and that's intentional. We were birthed in a pregnancy center that I was the executive director at, and my predecessor had this vision to bring restoration services to a new level. Also, the president of our board now, Janine Marone, was a large part of making that happen. And we served traditionally, normally, like most pregnancy centers, maybe 10 or so women during the day through a Bible study and that had experienced abortion. And both Callie and Janine said, that's just not enough. We need to be doing more. And so through the development of this program in 2017, we learned a lot. We brought on a program coordinator. Her name was Karen Barbito. Her name still is Karen Barbito, and she is now our director of programming. But she learned so much. She's experienced abortion, and she's gone through 10 or more healing programs. And both anecdotally and now consumer research, this collaboration of both the consumer research and the anecdotal experience, we developed a very clear understanding of the gaps in our nation, really internationally too, of the after abortion healing component that our country and our nation, everyone was missing out on. And what that is, and how Support After Abortion kind of grew its wings, is we began to understand that most of the people that have experienced abortion did not want what we were giving them. They did not want the faith-based program initially. They did not want to come to a group initially. They wanted to maintain anonymity. They wanted to maintain confidentiality, and they wanted to be met with a very neutral curriculum or a neutral approach. And we just weren't doing that as a world. And so as we developed understanding, we began to shift. We modify and adapt very quickly at Support After Abortion. And so we did that. We began to develop a very clear understanding. We developed a text line, an 800 number. We were responding to Facebook messages. We were beginning to better understand all the services that were being provided. And so in 2017, we served 12 people. In 2018, 50 people. And then in 2019, we launched into serving almost 1,000 people. Wow. And that was men and women, grandmothers, aunts, you name it. And so that's a little bit about the organization that I get to do life with. And we are just shifting and adapting every day as we learn about the gaps in abortion healing. 50% of the abortions happening in our country are happening on women who have already had an abortion. And so if we can get them healing after their first abortion, can you just imagine what our world would look like? Can you just imagine the amount of abortions that would never happen, and the amount of families that would eradicate abortion altogether because it's such a generational cycle? So, it just mends well with my background that I have a license in clinical social work. And so just speaks to my heart in so many ways. And I just am so privileged to hear the stories of healing that come as a result of the work that we get to do.
Oh my goodness. I love so much what you guys do and your heart behind collaborating with other nonprofits that are reaching the same people groups.
Yeah, you guys are like a bridge. And I remember Jessica has led some abortion healing groups. And one thing that stood out to me that you told me once is that a lot of the women blacked out the title of the book. Like that if they were walking in, they just didn't want anyone yet to know why.
Yeah, it was like I was noticing it the second and third week that the women were walking in and they had literally taken a Sharpie marker and marked out the title of the book. And like at first glance, I was like, oh my goodness, did they like all talk and text each other about this? Like, what is going on? But they were so ashamed for anybody to know. So what you guys do and how you offer resources is so unique and so amazing. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about, what you guys do and how you do it?
At Support After Abortion, we see ourselves as a center of excellence. So if you've ever heard of Georgette Forney, I call her the mother of the abortion healing movement, or the matriarch of the abortion healing movement. She said we should have done this at the very beginning. We should have created a network that helps bring all of the abortion healing programs together so that we could multiply the work that we're doing. And so who we are and who God has really helped us to develop into is this vehicle. So we don't necessarily offer any program, so to speak. Although we've written a book called Unraveled Roots, because we just really felt like it was a missing piece in the pregnancy center world. We really want to facilitate an intake, a very thorough intake with the client that's calling in, better understand what it is that they want from a healing program. And we want to meet them right where they are. Yes. And so what we do is we do that intake, we get to know them, we help to just like you said, the blackout marker and everything. We want to help just get rid of that stigma and that shame and that guilt, let them know they're talking to somebody that understands where they are. And once that kind of goes down, there's an openness to hearing about the programs that are offered across the world. And then that's when we will do what we call a warm transfer. We will handhold that client to the program of their choice, to the program that both through their intake and through our experience, like I shared with you with Karen, we know personally what they're like, and we're hearing what the client wants. And then we handhold them into that process. And so we've contacted over 850 programs across the world that are doing abortion healing that said, yes, we'll take a warm handoff like that. And then we follow up 2 weeks later and find out how it's going for them, if they're connected, if it's still very much what they're looking for. And a lot of times this is the answer that they needed. They were so afraid to ask for help. They didn't want to go to that group and carry their book inside. And so some of them say, hey, I just want to stay connected via text. My husband's a very prominent person in this community, and I can't show up to a group right now. Right. But then the walls start to break down and things start to shift, but we just meet them right where they are. We have codependency groups and sexual healing groups and miscarriage groups, because we found that they're all connected to abortion healing. And so right now, to fill a gap, because sometimes abortion healing isn't readily available for that client, we will offer a group in a virtual setting for that client to have something in the meantime while they're still really interested in healing. And then we'll pass them off to the next healing program, because we all know healing's a process, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. And we've noticed at Embrace Grace that, and we've never or at least before this, advertised specifically to women that have experienced an abortion, but we've realized that a lot of women that are leading Embrace Grace groups now. And we hear, things like, well, I just want to be the person that I wish was in my life at the time of my abortion decision. Right. Like they want to be a part of the change. And I love how Revelation 12:11 says that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So as we share our story, the healing even continues. And so finding creative ways to tell your story, whether it's just a one person or in a group like Embrace Grace, talking to the girls that maybe are thinking about having an abortion and being able to tell your own story. There's healing in that. And I love seeing women set free, and free people. Yes. And I just even believe, if you think about 1 in 4 women have experienced an abortion, and the abortion rate is exactly the same inside the church as it is outside the church, there's no difference. If we can help set these women free in our churches and men, it would change the culture of the church.
It would change the world.
It would totally change the world. And because they don't feel like they can talk about it. There's so much shame around it. When we can help set them free, I believe that it affects everything. They'll want to get involved, and they will want to use their gifts and their talents and feel like they are have a story to tell. And I speak all the time, around the nation, and it seems like every time I share my story, people come up to me afterwards and they'll whisper in my ear. I remember one lady's like, "Oh, I have had she leaned in so close. I've had an abortion, but God's healed me." And I'm like, "Girl, why are you?" Whispering is so quiet.
But
there's
it's still a secret.
Yeah, right. I know it's still hard, but I love that the more bold we get, it just seems like the more freedom, because free people. It's almost like a Me Too movement that can happen with abortion,
Hey guys, it's Jessica taking a quick break from the podcast. What if one box could save 2 lives? Well, we've created something called the Love Box. It's an invitational gift that's placed in the hands of a single and pregnant woman that's just found out they're pregnant. These boxes are gifted to pregnancy centers across the nation as a tool to invite them inside of a church to an Embrace Grace support group. We are so excited to offer the opportunity for you to partner with us in this. To learn more about our love boxes, on how they're distributed, or how to partner with us on this, visit www.embracegrace.com.
So true. And what's coming up for me is this really distinct story. So, that we did our Healing Network virtual conference at the end of July. We were doing a Facebook ad, and it was a picture of 4 girls emulating the statistic that you just shared. 1 in 4 women before the age of 45 will have an abortion, and we're here to help them heal. And 9 out of 10 women don't know where to go for healing. So let's start the conversation. Let's help better understand how to have these conversations. And do you know, Jess and Amy, that the response that we got from the pro-life community was horrendous. And it's almost, I still get chills just sharing it. Those 4 hags don't deserve help. Murderers go to jail, and they don't get help for that. Just message after message after message about that word abortion. That's what I really believe we were learning through that ad. I couldn't keep deleting them fast enough or explaining them fast enough that we had to take the ad down.
Oh my goodness.
So,
that word abortion is just really polarizing to some people.
That's right. And that's just it. That's why I think there's a double whammy with this. I didn't get to share this, but I worked in the anti-sex trafficking industry and teen pregnancy, both very stigma related professions, but I never experienced the kind of stigma that comes with working with folks that have experienced abortion. Never. Yeah. And I'm beginning to learn why. Our country we either go to politics or religion when it comes to talking about abortion. We don't go to that place where you can see that girl that's broken like we did with trafficking. Once we could help somebody understand that little girl was exploited from the age of 3 years old and beyond, and all of a sudden there was sympathy, there was understanding of why she was addicted to drugs and those kind of things. Yes. But it's just so hard to help people understand the mindset and the psyche of someone who's experienced abortion. And so I think that really speaks to what you just said. And I think we have a long way to go in helping people understand that abortion healing is actually a pro-life issue.
Yes.
And with over 47 years of legalized abortion and 61 million abortions, we have a lot of work to do to help heal our world. And so I just think that adds to the conversation that you guys were just having.
Yes. Lisa, you and I have talked about this before. With the writing I have done for Focus on the Family on the topic of abortion healing, right. That first article I wrote, I made the mistake of looking at a public forum where my first article was posted, and my heart was just grieved at the harshness of some of the comments. There was definitely encouraging comments, but there was some very harsh comments, calling me a murderer and I deserve to be punished and suffer. And
very pro-life people, right?
Yes, it's a pro-life forum.
Very pro-life.
And that I deserve to burn in hell. So, but I really just went to God with that. God, what is this? Break my heart for what breaks yours. And these are just broken people, right? There's something in their past. There's always a root. It's not the action. It's not, it has nothing to do with me. There's something in them that feels broken, and pointing out my failure makes them feel better or something. But just really with the platform that Support After Abortion has, and the reach that this organization has, and the favor and the growth that is on it, that is favor from God. And you are changing hearts and lives by freeing people. And it's not just the freeing of people that free other people who have experienced abortion, but the freeing of people who have experienced abortion to free their friends, to free their family of that stigma of what abortion is. Abortion isn't anything anybody just wants to do. I experienced abortion, and it was out of fear and shame and trying to grasp control of a situation, right? But when we can share our stories and we can take off the shame and take it out of hiding, then we allow other people to find freedom in all aspects of their life.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting too that one thing that we say around the office, Lisa, you will think this is funny, is we always say, what's the root? We literally say it. Someone said it this morning already as we were getting ready for this podcast. And it can be annoying, I'm sure. But,
we think it's funny too.
Yeah, we do freedom ministry on each other all the time. But that's why I love your book.
Yes.
Y'all's book is so good. And it's interesting too that abortion does seem to be the root of a lot of different things that maybe people may have not connected it together, or even in your book, how you have the 4 areas of roots that may have projected something later in their life of their decision-making process, of how it's affected. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your book? Because it is for pregnancy centers, but anyone can buy it though, right? Because I don't work at a pregnancy center. I loved it.
People in general.
Yeah. I was like, which one's me? What's my root?
It was just birthed in the pregnancy center, I guess, because I felt like so prior to my pregnancy center work, I was working in the teen parent program. And my first week on the job at the pregnancy center, there were 3 girls that came in that week that I served when I was at the teen parent program. And I thought to myself, what did I miss? Like, these girls graduated high school. They were set free from their decision to have a baby super early and all these, vulnerable decisions they made. And they were back in their lives were magnified with more risk factors. We had foster care involved, domestic violence. One girl had a very, very ill child. They were all with different spouses or partners. I mean, it was just, their lives were even messier. And it concerned me. And I said, what did we miss? And, with my own healing and with just a further journey with trauma and understanding how trauma impacts us, I was like, we have got to do something. And the pregnancy center is such a good place to do it. Like you said, you can do it anywhere, but the pregnancy center, I mean, we could capitalize in our Earn While You Learn classes on why are we here again? Why are we on child number 3 with a guy that has similar patterns of behavior? You're struggling with your finances. Like, why does this keep repeating? And that's where the book came from. And so, we really uncovered both with our own experience, my co-authors' experiences, and really started beginning to untangle, where these things come from. And they really do come from childhood experiences. And so we talk about abandonment, we talk about addiction, we talk about abuse, and we talk about codependency, 4 roots that we found to be very, very prevalent in the lives of the folks that we were serving. And so, we just find that once we can get to the root of the issue, that the symptoms stop. Right. And or they become easier to deal with. Abortion is a symptom of deep roots. Most of the women we talk to have experienced sexual abuse. There's a strong correlation.
Okay, so the name of your book is Untangled Roots. That's right? Unraveled Roots. Okay. Roots. Yeah, I knew. I've read it, but I just forgot for a second. Well, that is so good. If we can just recognize even, if we're triggered in some way and we recognize the patterns of why we make the decisions we make, and can go back to that root and replacing lies with the truth, which I love that you do that in your book. That there's always a story, and then there's a lie, and then there's the truth. And it kind of helps have real practical ways that a girl can really, or a woman or anyone can recognize their own lies that maybe they believed about themselves or that have been spoken over them that was not from God. And it's just really a great tool for anyone that's helping women or single moms or anyone. And so what is the best way for people to get connected to support after abortion?
Great question. And so our website is always the best, www.supportafterabortion.com. Our phone number is on there. Our connection to all of our social media platforms is on there. I would strongly recommend that you sign up for our newsletter. It alerts you of when we've posted blogs. We post a blog every week, and we also do a Facebook Live every week. We actually are going to be launching a podcast as well, so we're really thrilled about that. But that's the way to stay informed. It's how we keep all of our partners updated on conferences that we're going to have or any other news-related information to support after abortion. I want to speak to both the clients and partners and potential volunteers and that sort of thing, because I know you're really trying to help people understand how they can contribute. We really feel like if we can come together, we really can build and strengthen abortion healing worldwide. And so we're calling our partners Healing Network Partners. And there's a spot on our webpage that really speaks to that. So how can you enhance your healing program? How can you serve more people every year? How can you get in front of, like we did, the substantial number of clients, in the increase that we had over those 3 years that I shared earlier. And we want to help. A lot of it has to do with marketing. A lot of it has to do with offering options-based, and maybe even adding a text message or meeting with clients after hours, or offering a different curriculum in addition to the curriculum you're providing. And so that would be a great way for somebody that is maybe leading an abortion healing group to get more information on how they might add one or two other things to what they're already doing. And so those would be the ways that I would suggest. If you're a client, you can text us, you can Facebook message us, but we're also serving the pregnancy centers, therapists, leaders in the movement that are looking to grow and enhance their program.
That is awesome. We are inspired, amazed, and so proud of how fast even this organization has blossomed. Yeah, blossomed. Like, that's amazing. And it just goes to show that there's a real need, and you guys have found a place to meet the needs. So you're definitely helping her be brave.
Thank you for all that y'all do.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much for being with us today, Lisa. Wow. Can you imagine, like, if all of the women and men in the whole world really received the healing that God has to offer? Like, we could change the world.
Literally change the world. I know that when I experienced abortion healing after I had my abortions, it changed everything in my life. Like the way I was a mom, the way I was a wife, the way I was a friend and a sister. And if we could really heal the hearts of those that are broken, like we heal others with our healing. So this is just whoa.
Yeah. And then you went on to lead Embrace Grace groups. Like you're able to, and do you think that you would have led Embrace Grace, or maybe not as effectively, before you gone through an abortion healing?
Well, I actually found out about Embrace Grace because my oldest son was in preschool. We weren't going to church at the time, but we wanted him to know God. So he was at a Christian preschool, and his teacher was talking about a baby shower for single and pregnant girls at our church. And I had that moment of like where my heart leapt, and I thought, if that church believes that God can love those girls and is celebrating their babies, maybe there's still hope for me. And so I went to talk to the teacher about this baby shower. How do I get involved? And I know she could see something in me. And she just said, we'd love to have you involved. Like, what's your story? And I started sweating, oh my goodness. Like, I had an abortion so I wouldn't have to talk about unplanned pregnancy in a church. And here I am standing in a church talking about an unplanned pregnancy and abortion. But she really encouraged me to seek healing before I began to lead. And like, it radically transformed my life. And, we've seen leaders that have experienced abortion. They've never told anybody. They start leading a group and they get in it and they're like, I've got to have healing for this.
Yeah, so you've seen that several times.
Yeah, so God can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants to do it. We just have to be willing to let him do it.
Yeah, just be obedient. And really all of us too, it breaks my heart what Lisa was saying about just people being hateful. Yeah. And we need to be able to create safe places for people to be vulnerable, because that's the first step of healing. And although the people that are saying that probably aren't listening to this podcast show, but if you are,
we love you and we're praying for you.
We love you and we see you. Don't do it. Okay. Well, I'm pumped. I'm excited. And I really hope that all of you that are watching, if this organization resonated with you, get connected, get involved to what they're doing. If you feel like that you need healing, go get connected to an abortion healing, or get connected to Support After Abortion. They have many different ways that you want to watch something digitally, one-on-one, if you want to go to a group, if you want to do a retreat. If you're a Christian, if you're not a Christian.
If you want to do it anonymously. Like literally any way.
They will custom find a healing system for you. And so we're rooting for you. We would love to hear the stories. If you do get connected in some way, let us know. That just keeps us going, and we get super excited about it. And also, if you have gone through abortion healing and you want to use your story to change lives, you can also always lead Embrace Grace groups at your local churches. We totally need group leaders all over the nation. So go look us up, embracegrace.com, and just you can help a lot of moms and be that person that you wish that you had in your life years ago when you made your abortion decision. And we'll have front row seats to miracles, right?
Yeah, every day.
Every day. It is amazing. So thank you so much for watching today, and we are excited to hear what's going to happen.